Hey!
God damn it, you caught me off guard with that. This is what happens when we make podcasts in the daytime and we're awake.
I thought that's what you wanted to do.
Hey, no, that's totally fine. I'm all good. I'm down with it. I'm okay with this.
Hey folks, it's me, Timothy, and it's Smitty with me, and we're talking comics. This is the variety show. This is CrisisCast, Marvel Now Wave 1, where we're pretty much talking about the first month of Marvel Now books.
Yes, and it kicked off with 10 releases, some pretty big ones, and some others that, flubbed.
Others like, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
And there's still more to come. I know December we've already gotten Thunderbolts and Avengers.
Yes.
So.
There's at least 5 books from my understanding.
Yes, there's at least 5 books this month. January picks it back up because I believe that is the first issue of Superior Spider-Man.
And Savage Wolverine.
Yes. And then there's going to be another Wolverine book in February. Yeah. So I'm glad we already have our first guy with 2 fucking books. Only takes 2 months.
Whatever, there's 3 Avengers books.
There are.
I know it's different rosters, but still.
Yeah. All right. All right, fine. But yeah, this is to talk about the 10 books that have released, our impressions of Wave 1, and our overall impressions of how Marvel Now has kicked off, since this is technically Marvel's New 52.
Yeah, because you know what? DC did it so well that Marvel said, hey, we could do it too.
Yeah, they're not resetting canon.
Yeah.
But they basically took their entire roster of writers and artists and flip-flopped them to a bunch of new books except for Dan Slott.
No. What they did was they had all... Like, they had darts, okay? They had one wall full of, books. The other wall was full of artists. And the darts were all writers, okay? So they threw them at the boards to see what writer would be working on what title and with artist.
Yeah, except for Dan Slott.
Dan Slott, no.
Dan Slott doesn't get the move.
No.
Dan Slott gets to lay in the grave that he has been making with Spider-Man.
Hey.
No, I'm not saying it's bad.
I was going to say, it's a pretty good grave.
I'm only stealing his words because he has said once 700 hits shelves, he's going into a bunker. He's like, I am hiding. Because the past 2 issues, it has taken a hell of a twist, and there's technically 2 issues left because we got
one.
$6.90. No, you got $6.99.1.
I ain't gonna pick up that shit.
I'm picking it up because it's 1, it ties into everything, and 2, it's supposed to be the jump off point for Morbius's book. So, but I'm picking it up, and due to where I work, I will be getting that and Spider-Man 700 a week early.
Son of a bitch.
So this coming week, I'll get $6.99.1, and the following week, I'll get 700.
You bastard.
Yeah. So that's what happens when you work for a distribution company that has to double up their invoices for Christmas. So they're like, we're sending everything early. So I'm like, yes, I get 700 early. So that'll be cool. But enough about that. What's the first book you want to jump in and share opinions of?
Let's get rid of some of this crap.
We're starting at the bottom. All right.
Let's start with X-Men Legacy, which is supposed to be following the story of Legion, who is Charles Xavier's son. And, Legion has a bit of a problematic history. I mean, he debuted in the old New Mutants book. And the idea of the character to have multiple personalities, okay, and each personality wields a different power. So over the years, the character Legion's been through so many twists and turns and gotten silly, and and this is after the character who had been possessed by the Shadow King. He enslaved all of Muir Island. He traveled back in time and killed Professor Xavier to start the Age of Apocalypse. And, and in this book, we're supposed to believe he's all timid, and I believe only one of his personalities came out, and they briefly skimmed on it.
He's essentially like in rehab. I mean, they essentially put him in rehab, and they're now training him to basically pluck his different personalities at will and use their powers. And it's all represented as a mind prison where each personality's in jail, and they get pulled out whenever he wants a power, and they strap him up, and they suck the power out, and they throw him back in jail. But the comic ends in a riot.
Hooray!
I mean, we just before we go on, we're probably going to talk a lot of spoilers, even though there's not really too many spoilers because these are all books that are set that are just introductory books. Still, we're not. I'm not leaving anything off limits. We can talk about whatever. So
yeah, and they also show a character named Blindfold who has prophetic powers, but he's just there and make the story progress, but then he shows up more and more. It's like, why are you still here?
Yeah. As somebody that did not have a lot of knowledge on the background of Legion, it was a bit confusing at first reading that book because I was thinking literally this is some sort of prison in space. Like it is some sort of alien prison and they got all these different creatures, but it was like, no, it's his mind.
I actually thought it was India. In the Himalayas.
You go to the Himalayas, okay.
I really that and because it said so in the book.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's true. It did, but still, it was just like once it revealed, it's like no, this is all in his mind. But it seems like this is going to be a book that's going to shape up Legion as an important character for the mutant race once he leaves this place and is out and about in the Marvel universe.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how important of a role he plays. It's yet to be determined, but I know reading it, there wasn't anything that really impressed me. If anything, it just made me curious about what role is he going to play in the overall universe. If anything,
he better not become the new professor. It's in his genes.
It is. I actually don't think that's going to happen. I think something's going to happen as far as the professor goes. I think something's going to happen based on one of the other books we're going to talk about later. Yeah. One of the good books.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that later. But I have my theories once we get to that book.
Yeah. So I guess we're going to talk about the Fantastic Four now.
I guess. I mean, I don't know, man. With this book, I read. I mean, the art's nice. I give him credit.
Mark Bagley always does good work.
Yeah, the art is really nice in the book. I don't know. I mean, Fantastic Four always takes the family-friendly approach because it's the first family of the Marvel universe. So it's all very hammy and everything with their stuff, and it just feels like because it has to be written that way. Like I almost feel like Marvel tells every writer of Fantastic Four, like you gotta write it this way. Except for who had the most? Was it Fraction that had the most recent run? Hickman. His run with Fantastic Four, I read a couple of those issues. Those were very good. But this just feels like they wanted to set it back to a very family-friendly, cheesy book, and I wasn't a fan of a lot of the dialogue between the four. The only thing that intrigued me was the plot point.
I think that's about the only thing that's interesting about it. Okay, so something's wrong with their powers and whatnot. They're like becoming disabled.
Yeah. Well, so far it's just Reed.
But But at least one of the things Fraction does, he takes the time to have a moment with each character to introduce him as to his point of view, I guess, and what he's. But he doesn't feel like he's dropping everything Hickman did. He's holding on to some of that.
Yeah.
So, he continues to have Ben and Johnny be hilarious, and Hickman's Ben and Johnny were hilarious, even more hilarious.
Yeah.
So, but it'll be interesting how it goes forward, because I really don't have much to say about this issue other than, hey, they're going to go on a family vacation because they've never had one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, apparently what it is like the same cosmic event that caused them to get their powers. Apparently now their powers are having an effect on their DNA, or at least so far it's having an effect on Reed's DNA, and he feels it's going to be something that will kill them.
Yeah.
So he's found a place, another universe to travel to, where in our time it will only be minutes, but in that universe's time it will be a year. And he's taking the entire family, and he's telling them it's an educational vacation, while really it's just another one of those plots that Reed has where he doesn't tell everyone everything.
Yeah. Because he doesn't want them to worry, you know?
Yeah, and it's going to reach a breaking point where someone's going to start asking questions. Everybody's going to be pissed that he didn't tell them. It's how it always breaks down.
You know what? He's a protective father. What can I say?
Oh, no, he is. I mean, I get that. I'm not saying he's a dick. I'm just saying that, that's how his...
Keep us in the loop, buddy.
Yeah, that's how he treats everything. That's every arc where he discovers, oh, this is bad. He wants to fix it by himself.
Yeah.
So... While every other... It'll be interesting because you would think that in correspondence with some other books like FF, that in that instance, it wouldn't be that book wouldn't be very long, because those characters are only in place for what essentially is a few minutes of their time.
Yeah, I like because in Fantastic Four, where they say one thing's going to happen, it never ends up going in that direction.
It always goes to hell.
They flub it somehow.
Yeah, it always goes to hell. So I mean, it'll be interesting. I think once it reaches, when it gets closer to the culmination of this, it may get more interesting. But just setting the groundwork was a little boring to me, and so far the writing wasn't too. It didn't grab me very much, but the art was very nice. The art was nice. I give it that.
So let's move on to FF, since it's its sister book.
Okay.
Because FF, if you didn't read Fantastic Four, you're okay, because FF has a jumping on point. It just tells you what happened in Fantastic Four and why these characters are being brought together.
Yeah, and FF is an interesting book for me because when I purchased it and I saw the lineup of characters, I was not looking forward to reading this book at all. I was like, so it's She-Hulk and Ant-Man and Miss Thing, and I'm like, where is Squirrel Girl? Where is the rest of the just characters that are for the entire past year we haven't really done anything.
Yeah, where's the real B team Fantastic Four? Where's Wolverine and Spider-Man and the Hulk and Ghost Rider?
Well, Black Panther was one too, wasn't he? Wasn't he a B team?
And Storm.
Yeah, they were a B team as well. So, but the book redeems itself in its storytelling and in the background of Ant-Man, because it's not Hank Pym, it's
Scott Lang.
Thank you, Scott Lang, and his background and what happens with his daughter, and now how he's going to be in charge of kids after the traumatic events of what happened with his own child. That's the most interesting part of the entire book.
Seeing how he reacts to having lost his child, and now having to deal with having to be in charge of taking care of more children.
Yeah, and the children all have their own unique personalities, which could create some good comedy in future issues, especially the aliens that follow the Ben.
Oh, the Moloids, yes.
Yes, the Moloids love the Ben.
They do love the Ben.
Yes. Dragon Man is very well written. So it's. I think this book is going to provide a lot of humor. At the same time, it's going to balance it out with the emotional trauma that is happening on Lang.
Yeah.
So. That's what got me, because the art I felt was very basic. Now that I think about it, the art reminded me of C-Lab 2020 or 2021.
I can see that. I understand.
Yeah. What did you think about the art?
I didn't mind the art. I actually like it because that guy also did Ecstatic. He's more known for, or I forget his name, Alfred, whatever, did Ecstatic, and he's known for writing that, or drawing and writing art like that kind of. So it didn't bother me whatsoever.
Okay.
I actually liked it. So
I mean, I didn't hate it. I just felt
it looked weird to you. I
yeah.
understand.
To me, like everything just looked behind compared to some other art styles.
Well, in a way, if you think about it, though, considering some of the humor that's in the book, the art works well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think the book's going to be a little more humorous
Yeah.
than it should be,
I
but
think-
it's also going to have its serious note.
Yes, the art does complement the children quite a bit. I think it does work for them, and a lot of spacey characters, like non-human characters, I think
Yeah.
benefit from that artwork. So it wasn't bad, and the story point's interesting. I'm curious to see what happens going forward with Lang and the children.
Yeah. I guess we'll try to find out my next spot.
That's fine.
Was there a book you want to talk about right now?
Well, let me consult my own list, and if we're gonna work from the bottom up, which I don't really consider FF a bottom book per se.
No, I did FF because
just because it connects with
it connects with
Four.
Fantastic Four. That's why
I guess
did
we can
FF.
jump into Thor. You want to
Yeah.
jump into Thor?
Yeah, we can jump into Thor. If I can. Yeah, there it is.
Thor and his mystery.
You mean murder mystery through 3 time zones?
Yeah,
in Thor?
where's his fucking mystery machine? Where's his faithful Asgardian dog?
I don't know.
I like the opening of the book where he was he was on some planet drinking and like I'm great and like all that. That was kind of funny because you don't see that part of Thor in the collaboration books. You just see angry, like God of Thunder Thor.
It's like I'm better than you.
Yes, you don't see Thor out there like drinking like among people that worship him as a god. Like yes, more meat and more women. Like it opens up with like I've banged so many women and I've drank so much mead and it's just the first hour or like something like that. Like that was kind of cool. But I like that it's gonna go through the various 9 realms. Like it's not just Thor on Asgard and Earth. Like it's immediately setting out to be across a bunch of realms. So I like that idea. But I didn't. The murder mystery, as you said.
Murder mystery.
Yeah, the God Killer.
Yeah.
And also, it seems to have a bit of time travel to it as well, or time jumping.
Yeah.
Because you get young Thor and old Thor.
And present day Thor.
Yeah.
So, I just was overall confused when I was reading. It was like, the fuck's happening here? Oh, there's some frost giants being held up by hooks. Okay, that's neat.
Except I don't think they were frost giants. They were the gods of that planet.
Yeah.
And and they're all murdered and.
But the guy who murders them, supposedly Gore the God Butcher, apparently he's a big deal to Thor. So
Yeah.
whatever else he's done, is definitely Thor saying, I have to find this guy, otherwise we're all fucked.
Yeah, it's a big deal to Thor, but it doesn't feel like a big deal to readers.
Yeah.
It kind of shows how the gallery of villains for Thor past Loki, the Frost Giants, and the Dark Elves, it kind of immediately goes. Yeah. It's a very weak gallery.
It is.
Which is why he's more reliable in collaboration books when he's teaming up against big-time villains. Seeing him face guys like Doctor Doom or, other stuff like that. The Phoenix Five.
I mean, the art wasn't, very appealing to me at all.
No,
it looked very muddy.
Yeah, and it seems like that's the kind of art style they like to go with for just Thor books overall.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why either. I didn't really dig it too much.
I mean, the last good artist on Thor was Oliver Copiel, but that was before the Civil War when he was just coming back.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you're not gonna have Loki as a villain for quite a while, if
at all.
At all. because he's going to have a focus down the line in the coming months. He's going to be the main character of Young Avengers.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
I read the preview pages of that book, and I do like the fact that it centers around Loki trying to put together a team, but he's still a dick, so he ends up pissing a lot of people off. Kid Loki is awesome. But yeah, who knows if he'll ever be a villain again or for quite a while. And you know what? For him, for as long as he's been a villain or just a thorn in heroes' sides for so many years, I think he deserves a bit of a run in a different light. So I actually don't mind him currently being like the dickish hero. Or anti-hero, I guess.
Whenever I think of Loki, I also think of Damian.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Damian Wayne, yes.
Because that's the most immediate person I can compare Loki to.
I completely agree.
But
Damian Wayne is such a dick.
He is.
Oh, I got you a dog. Fuck this dog. I don't want this fucking dog.
I don't want this dog.
I want to murder bad guys. Why do I want this dog? Shut up, Butler. Or Pennyworth. I think he only refers to him as Pennyworth.
He does only refer to him as Pennyworth.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, God.
Let's keep amongst the trio of Avengers, and let's go on to Iron Man.
Okay.
So Kieran Gillen decided he wants to relive Extremis because...
I wonder why.
Because, there isn't a movie coming out that's going to have Extremis involved at all.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all in May.
Because Marvel likes to have, their books mirror what their movies are going to be doing that summer.
I almost feel like Extremis is going to last until April, and then May is going to be the Mandarin. The first issue for the Mandarin to tie in with the movie. You can almost predict it.
It's very predictable.
Because that's how they want to do it. Because as we were getting closer to Captain America coming out, they brought Steve Rogers back to life and brought him back as Captain America.
Yeah.
Because they felt they needed to. Around the time that Thor got announced, they brought him back to life in Siege. Because he was gone until around Siege, wasn't he?
No, it was before Secret Invasion.
Okay, that's when they brought him back, or that's when?
Yeah,
okay.
A little bit before that. Yeah.
But at that time, it was still like they brought him back in the form of Donald Blake and Thor, right?
Yeah. Which, by the way, is for I don't know if they've separated them again or not, but I think they're still a reunion, aren't they?
Yeah, because I don't think there's ever been an explanation of them separating them. He just doesn't turn back to Donald Blake. So I think Donald Blake's just in Thor's head like, hello?
It's dark in here.
I'm so alone.
But we're talking about Iron Man.
Yeah, I know.
The
whole tie-ins and everything.
But it feels like a step back in a way because now he's back to being CEO Playboy because he went through a lot of shit right before this. Yeah, because Matt Fraction's awesome and put him through all those fucking trials with the Mandarin and the part where he couldn't put his suit together whatsoever and he had to borrow the Crimson Dino's suit. But anyway, he's gone back to being the Playboy.
Yeah,
and
like the new writers just went in and looked at Matt Fraction's work and went, nope. Playboy. He's got to be Robert Downey Jr.
He's got to pick up hot chicks who are apparently just as smart as him and are gold diggers. And
and it also has like no. It doesn't seem to have any reference to his big epiphany in AVX, where now he's starting to accept magic and like otherworldly stuff.
What do you mean epiphany? It's just forgotten.
Yeah,
it's flushed down the toilet.
It's like gone in that book. Yet in other books that he's in, it's still referenced. So it's like apparently he has like relapse, like every now, like every time I'm around Cap, I remember I like magic now. But when I'm around Pepper Potts, I just want to bang Pepper Potts.
And she's back being the the custodian
Yeah,
of Tony Stark. It's like, what is she? She's supposed to be the president of the goddamn company.
Yeah, she still calls herself the CEO, but it's like she says she's the CEO, but she's constantly there to be like, Tony, no, or Tony, bad things are happening.
Bad.
Back to work, Tony. Like, they're trying to write it like the movie universe, which, like you said, is a step backwards. The only step forward is I like the new suit.
That's about it.
That's pretty badass. I like that suit. Well, it was like a liquid metal suit he kept in a briefcase.
Yes.
It was pretty badass.
That's okay. That's where he keeps most of his suits.
Yeah, it is.
In a briefcase.
Yes. So I thought the art was strong.
Of course, Greg Land always does beautiful art. The only
Yeah.
problem is he makes all his people very pretty.
He does. They're all like very shiny and smiley and oh my god. I just remember seeing the old man's face that's talking about Extremis and he's always got like the squinty eyes and the big smile and but I mean, if you're looking for more of the cheeky Tony Stark and like the lot of dickish comments and everything, you know, if you want something more like the movies,
Here you go.
literally, here you go. I mean, you'll be very happy with this. But for the people that have been following his book since before Marvel Now and seeing how everything just pulls a 180, I mean, at least in Iron Man, like in Iron Man 3, when you look at the movie part, the movie universe as opposed to this, there are consequences that he's dealing with after the Avengers. Like, he's not mentally stable after everything he experienced on the Avengers.
Yeah.
So he's like, at least they're following that up. Like, man, he's just like, I saw some fucked up shit. I saw holes open in space and giant metal worms come out. And like, in this, it's just like, man, I had all this shit happen to me with like the Mandarin and all, and you know, all the people that I know and care about, and unable to build my armor, and now it's like, nope, everything's fine. I'm fine. It's all good. I have a lot of money.
He sure does.
Yeah. So in that case, it's almost the closest to a reset button, if like a new 52 reset button. It's the closest one you'll probably get. So. I guess then that can move it straight to Captain America.
That's what I was going to say. Let's move on to Cap so we can get the trio.
And John Romita.
Your heart on is throbbing now.
Not for John Romita.
John Romita.
Yeah, Rick Remender. You know, as I said on the DC, when in the middle of the DC New 52 one, I went on a rant about Venom. How I managed to squeeze that in there, I have no idea. But
because at the time I was like, he's okay.
Yeah, because I got into his stuff. I mean, I know he started with the Punisher and everything like that. I got into his stuff with Venom, and the writing in that was so good. Like, I enjoyed that entire run. So when they announced he was gone, like he leaving Venom, I was like, no. But then they were like, but now we're giving him an Avengers book. And is he writing Thunderbolts? No, he's not writing Thunderbolts.
No, that's Daniel Way.
Yeah, it's Daniel Way. He's writing Captain America and Avengers. I think those are the only two books that he's on.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is the first one, and I like I like his work. So obviously, I was excited for this. Romita, I don't hate his art. I know a lot of comic book fans hate his art.
I don't mind it usually.
Yeah, most cases I don't mind it. It can look a little boxy at times. He does draw some characters very square.
Yeah.
And some male faces will look very ape-like. They look very cavemanish.
Oh, you know, there's a number of heroes out there who've got the jawline going on.
Yeah, but overall, like I don't hate it. There's certain frames that when I look, I go, but I don't hate it. So he's not a guy that I'm like, get him off of all books ever. He's not a Rob Liefeld. So
well, that's because he doesn't. That's because, as far as I know, Romita doesn't actually write any books.
No, but I'm saying as far as like a known contributor that people just want off books entirely.
I hear you.
But it seems like with a lot of the comic book community, Romita is that person because a lot of people don't like his artwork, and for a long time he was the primary artist for Bendis's Avengers books. He did. I mean, for
he did a number, yeah.
Yeah, he did a good run. He started at issue 1.
Yeah.
And I think he was a good chunk of them. I have to go back. I have the entire Bendis run.
I do, but I actually consider Mike Diodato the partner for Bendis more than anyone else.
Yeah.
Him and Lionel Yu Francis or Francis Yu. I don't know. I always get his name mixed up because he's got 3 of them.
Yeah. But this book, the writing's interesting. He takes Cap. Not in like Cap is more snarky. Like he's not, or he's more. He shows more personality in this book than he really does in anything else. Everything else, he's very serious and like I have to fix things. And in this one, like he's making sexual innuendos.
Is it just me, or is Cap feeling a little old in this book too? Like he's showing his age.
Well, technically, he's 90.
He is technically 90.
They start this off on his birthday, so yeah, like it's kind of like a book that's gonna have Cap reflecting on where he is and just how old he is, because it goes into the 20s where it shows his abusive father, not necessarily abusive to him, but abusive to his mother, and then it brings it back to the present where he's focusing on like injuries that he's had and how he's able to push through them for a greater goal. And
he's not allowed to sleep.
Yeah, he doesn't sleep. I like that part of it because I feel like it's a more personal look at Cap than some of the other books are doing right now. Some of the other books are just this. Here is Mr. Fix-It Cap as he tries to make mutants and humans get along. I think that's the role he plays in most of the other books he appears in.
At least now,
yeah, now.
Beforehand, it's like I'm top dog.
Yeah, exactly. Before then, I'm big swinging dick. I'm Nick Fury with more muscles than you could possibly imagine.
And white.
Yes.
Wait, Nick Fury is white in this universe too. I'm sorry.
Yes, he is still white, and like the Nick Fury that they have now is his son. Apparently, he gave birth to Samuel L. Jackson.
Nick Jr.
Yeah, Nick Jr. in the regular Marvel universe.
He got his degree from Blue's Clues and Dora the Explorer.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like it's just they brought him in, and at least they didn't try to just say, "Hey, this is Nick Fury. He's black now." I mean, at least in the Ultimate Universe, it was starting over, so you could make him black. But in this, at least they didn't just go, "Oh, we found him we dug him out of the rubble and he's black now. I don't know what happened. He's bald. He's black. He looks like Samuel L. Jackson." But no, now he's just like now his son is there, but his son doesn't run S.H.I.E.L.D. It's still Maria Hill. He's just kind of like an agent.
I thought it was still under Cap. I thought it was still all under Cap, or did I miss something?
Well, I'm recollecting from the end times for Avengers when they refer to Maria Hill as acting commander.
Yeah. All right, whatever.
So,
anyway.
But I didn't know if it was I forgot because they don't reference it recently. I have forgotten that he's top cop
because I don't remember anyone taking him out of that seat.
I
That's
don't
the
either.
Thing.
Well, I do remember at the end of AVX. I don't know if he requested to be taken out of it or if he requested something because he has a thing with the president.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to remember if he requested leaving that top spot or just that he has a new focus on what he needs to do. I don't remember.
I think it was mostly just a focus on the mutants,
Yeah. As they continued to try to paint Scott Summers the bad guy.
Yep.
So
because he is.
Yeah. But this book's interesting. I mean, they bring back Arnim Zola in a real quick and dirty fashion. Like everything just happens at a lightning pace in this book. It's just like he fights the Green Skull. He goes on a date. Which is actually an undercover mission. He's on a train. The train's people. Now the train's aliens. Now here's Arnim Zola. it's like bang, 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 bang.
But at least But it's more of like Cap recollecting like what's going on, what's happening, what are we doing in the future, and now we have this huge plot point of what is this?
Yes, it is constantly in his perspective.
Yes,
it's constantly his voice bubbles going like, it's a dream. Like I actually did like that part where he's like opening and closing his eyes. He's like, turn off the damn TV. Like he's thinking like he's back in the apartment, and Sharon hasn't turned off the goddamn TV, and then he's just like, oh shit. No, it's Arnim Zola, and here's this giant needle in my chest. So that was.
Could you not do this, please?
Yeah, come on, man, just change the channel. Oh, it's real.
Technically, his face is a TV, so that makes sense. That makes it even funnier now.
He starts hitting the button on his belt, like change the channel. All I see is this big green face. Oh, okay, but I don't know. I have a feeling that Remender likes to work with secondary villains. Like in the Venom book, he liked working with Jack-o'-lantern and various other small-time villains. So I have a feeling this book is going to start off with a lot of... And Arnim Zola is he's a named villain for Cap fans. Cap fans know Arnim Zola. But I don't think this is going to be something where it's going to dive right into Baron Zemo and then the Red Skull.
Nah.
I think this is something where we're going to see a lot of guys on the same level as Arnim Zola for a while before he builds up to something big with a major villain.
I hope we get Batroc the Leaper.
It'll be interesting.
I saw a Brett walk by.
Did you see a Brett? Okay.
I did.
Well, we can. I guess I can let him in, and he can sit here and listen while we continue with books. So let's see. What have we talked about so far? We did Fantastic Four. We did X-Men Legends. We did Thor, Iron Man. We did Cat. We did FF. That leaves us into the final 4 books.
Let's do Hulk.
You want to do Hulk?
Let's do Hulk.
All right. You start explaining Hulk, and let me see if I got to go let somebody in.
All right. So obviously, Indestructible Hulk began a new era for Bruce Banner, as it's more of the after effects of AVX, because he went missing for about 6 months, and Maria Hill's in the diner and she's freaking out like, hey, where the fuck is Bruce Banner?
Yeah.
And then he shows up all of a sudden and is like, holy shit, where the fuck have you been? He's like, I went to build this because I'm motherfucking smart, and I hate being, considered, just the monster and not being the genius that I am compared to Reed Richards and Tony Stark.
I completely love that story arc where fucking Bruce Banner is like, you know what? I don't get a lot of time being Bruce Banner because then I get angry and I have to be the Hulk. So first and foremost, let me build tech so I can have a better idea of how long I get to be Bruce Banner. And then let me optimize that time by building shit that will help the world. And that is awesome.
Because I'm motherfucking smart.
Yeah, because I am smart as shit. And I deserve the same recognition as I love when he flipped out about Tony Stark.
Oh.
It's like, do you know who did that? Tony Stark! He just got pissed. Like, fuck him.
That dickhead.
Yeah. He's like, fuck him.
That dickhead.
And his armor.
And his goatee.
Stupid goatee. Looking like Robert Downey Jr. What a faggot.
Well, I gotta sit over here looking like Eric Bana.
Oh, God. And I also find it interesting that they're introducing Agent Coulson into the Marvel Now universe.
Yeah.
Now he's like the right-hand person for Maria Hill.
I think he's working more closely with Nick Jr.
Yeah, I think so too. And he's not like, so far it doesn't seem like he's under Maria Hill.
No.
It actually seems like he might be.
Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah. But I like the dialogue and the plot point of now this is going to be Hulk, agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Bruce Banner, scientist of the world.
Yes. I like the fact that Francis Hughes decided to make the Hulk look faster than faster in this book because usually you see the Hulk lumbering around, but you forget the Hulk's actually pretty fucking quick too.
Yeah, like he's not wide. Like he's built better to look like somebody that is going to beat the hell out of you, and if you run, he will catch you.
Yes.
And I loved his encounter with
it was the Mad Tinker.
Yeah, and like every calculation was not working out. He's like, oh, I'll just do this. Oh shit, that didn't work. Based on this math, I'll do this. Oh god, math numbers not
hurting me.
Numbers are not working. Hulk just keeps punching. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I can't wait for future issues for Indestructible Hulk.
Yeah. That one, and I like the fact that this one was to focus on Banner. I'm curious to see when they start focusing on Hulk's personality and seeing what Hulk has to say about
which makes
stuff.
me more interested in Secret Avengers when it comes out, because I've shown you the cover, one of the covers for that, where Hulk was on it, and now it makes sense why he's on that cover.
Yeah, Hulk is a Secret Avenger. He's also a regular Avenger again. So
supposedly.
What, you look confused? Hawkeye is also a secret and regular Avenger. There's some people that will work on the various teams. Widow is a regular and secret Avenger. So is Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember who's on the new Secret Avengers team. Venom isn't still on it, is he?
That's about it. You just about covered it right there.
So Hulk, Hawkeye, Hulk, Hawkeye, and Black Widow.
Yeah.
There's more than that, though.
No, not according to that cover. There ain't.
Hold on, I thought I looked up a roster. Let me pull.
You might have, but
Let me pull that up.
But to see Hulk being written by Mark Waid is going to be interesting, because we already know what his Bruce Banner is going to be pissed. It's like fuck these other guys. I'm smart too.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. That is here it is. Entertainment Weekly had an exclusive on who is on this team. I gotta let it load. All right, so you get Hawkeye, you get Black Widow, you get Nick Fury Jr., Mockingbird, Taskmaster. There's a new Iron Patriot.
Yeah, I saw him in the
Winter Soldier.
Yep.
And then Hulk. And then there's some other people that might be added down the road. But I like the addition of Winter Soldier. I think that's awesome. I think that's appropriate. I want to know who the new Iron Patriot is, and I swear to God, if it is Rhodey, just as another tie-in to the fucking Iron Man movie, I will just I'll still read it because I like Secret Avengers before Marvel now. But yeah, Indestructible Hulk's a good one. All right, we got 3 books left.
Pick one.
Me pick one?
Pick one.
I'll go with All New X-Men.
All right.
All New X-Men book focuses on bringing... This is actually probably the one that they've been hyping the longest.
Yeah, since, I guess issue 6.
Yeah, like they've been hyping the shit out of All New X-Men. That and Uncanny Avengers are probably the 2 biggest hyped books. But All New X-Men basically is a story that centers around bringing the classic X-Men team from their time to present time.
Yep.
But for a while, it was never discussed what are the events that bring them there. Do they come there themselves? What happens? So apparently, Beast is going through another mutation.
And it might kill him.
Yeah, and this mutation, he feels the only result is it's going to end with his death. Like, he is not going to survive his latest mutation. So he decides, after events take place of random attacks by Cyclops' team on humans to rescue abused mutants, that they need to confront Scott, not fight him. They're not directly fight him, not directly just talk to him meaninglessly, but they need to go confront him. And during this during this mission, not during the mission, but before the mission starts, when they are getting ready to leave, it's a mix of classic guy. It's Storm, it's Iceman, it's Kitty Pryde, it's Beast, and Iceman is kind of talking about how, man, if the young Scott when we first started this team could see the Scott of now, he'd bitch slap him and like all this other stuff, talking about how they could, this would never stand. And so Beast decides, while he's still alive and can still try to make some bit of difference, he is going to go back in time and pull the original X-Men to confront Scott and his current team, which is Magic, Magneto, Emma Frost, and it's that blue robot.
Oh, Danger.
Yeah, she looks like Robo Mystique with dreads.
Essentially, she was the Danger Room computer. Now she has a body and walks around.
Yeah. So that's what I figured she was. I didn't read any of the X-Men books to see her origin. So
I can always bring them over.
But so the story, the book, the first issue basically ends with Beast traveling back in time, and I love the fact that right away past Beast knows exactly that he's looking at his future self.
That also amused. Like, yeah, how do you know that's you?
Yeah, like I thought that was awesome, and I like the fact that they actually pulled a historic event in the old X-Men comics. Because I was watching an MTV special for All New X-Men, and panel for panel, they pulled an actual argument from the classic X-Men book based on that time, and just cleaned up the did modern art for it and everything. But it's the same dialogue, everything, except this time Future Beast just comes out of nowhere and is like, "Hey, don't," because he picks a point where young Hank McCoy is so angry over what is happening with humans. And he doesn't understand why their team is protecting humans and saving mutants, and when the humans don't like them, and he was going to quit the team. And then Future Beast just pops in and is like, "Yeah, I figured this would be an appropriate time for me to time travel back here and be like, hey, come with me." And he's like, and like young Scott's like, "Oh, what's the problem? Is it Magneto? Is it this?" He's like, "No, actually, it's you. You need to talk to you." And he's like, "Oh, should we get the professor?" He's like, no.
No.
He's like, no, because the professor wouldn't like that. The professor probably would not agree that you should time travel.
You know what? If you don't believe me, Gene, you can read my mind. I can read minds? Oh. Wait.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're still figuring that part out yet. And it's just, I think it also has something to do with like, yeah, we don't need to tell Xavier because then we're going to have to tell him that he's dead. So, there's this whole thing it's gonna provide so many awesome things. I want to see young Scott talking to old Scott. I want to see young Scott contemplating the fact that Magneto and Cyclops are together, entering a world where Xavier is dead. Jean entering a world where she has died multiple times.
Not in the good way. The last death was not a good death.
No. Beast. Or Hank McCoy basically seeing that he's going to become a blue monster and then eventually mutate to the point of death. And then Iceman's the same. Iceman doesn't change.
Well, he's spikier now.
He's spikier now. Oh, and then I guess Angel can see how he became psychotic and almost started a new age of apocalypse. Hey, that's good, right? Like, hey, how you doing? One day you're gonna get infected by apocalypse's like stuff. And
I also like the fact that in all new X-Men they decide, you know what, mutants aren't relegated to just America. It's actually a worldwide thing because they had several panels where they're in where there's this chick who freezes time in a certain radius of an area, and it's in Australia, and the X-Men show is like, "Hey, you did this. We're here to help you." And then before they could actually help her, the cops show up, but they kick the shit out of the cops there.
Yeah.
And then obviously they even though they still return to America because there is a healer who was being interrogated, they come to save him. And there was this annoying part where there's a camera looking at him, and Scott and the Cyclops yells, "Is like, hey, mutants, we got your back." and then
does the X.
does the X.
It was a cool, brief little speech. 'Cause I mean, they're shaping up Scott where he's not a villain per se, because he's not going in and murdering humans. Like, he's attacking them
Yeah.
because they're attacking mutants. Like, the whole encounter between that girl who discovers that she can stop time, and he just walks in. He's like, yeah, hey, so you're a mutant. And he's like, I'm not a mutant. He's like, well, you just stopped time on a 3-block radius out of fear. You're a mutant. He's like, so we're going to help you. But just to let you know, when you drop your time bubble, there's like a bunch of SWAT waiting outside your little bubble to charge in. So you should probably come with us. And then she's just like, I don't know. Like, she's panicking. She can't even figure out what the hell's going on. He's like, all right, well, when your bubble drops, cops are going to come. So you can come now. Or we're going to... you're coming regardless, but you'll save a lot of panic if you... No, you just want to... All right, we'll be back. And they just teleport out, and she dropped her time bubble, and the SWAT swarm her, and she's so confused because she doesn't know what she did and all this stuff. And then they just come in, they whoop the hell out of the SWAT, and they take her, and then they get on a security camera. And it's like, X-Men. So a lot of people are calling this team the New Brotherhood or the Extinction Team or whatever.
I am.
You're calling them New Brotherhood. But they're not the same level of violence and maniacalness as the classic Brotherhood.
Yeah. The other thing is also he's still referring to his team as the X-Men.
He is. Yes, he is still calling his team the X-Men. And he is also someone that regards Wolverine's school as a great place for mutants to learn. Because I believe he was still telling that young girl, like, you should go to this school.
I don't know.
So it's wild because he's in this war where humans need humans need to not fear these new mutants, and if they attack them, we're gonna fuck them up. But at the same time, we're gonna take the young ones and be like, hey, go to school, go to Wolverine, who probably hates me, but he won't hate you because you're a kid. It's interesting because they're basically shaping Cyclops and Wolverine as the new Xavier and Magneto.
Yep.
Where they respect each other. They know each other. Well, at this point, Scott knows there's a benefit to the way Wolverine wants to do things. Wolverine's still kind of on the fence where he feels Scott doesn't have to do what he's doing, and what he's doing is a mistake. Yes, no, that's it. Like they're shaping Wolverine into the Xavier. Which is really weird when you think about it. It is, but it's like it actually makes sense where it makes sense where the death of Xavier spawns this new idea into Wolverine where he's like, someone needs to keep his ideals, and I have his school, so it might as well be me. And his conversation, the conversation that he had, I know you didn't read AVX Consequences.
No, I didn't.
The conversations that Wolverine and Cyclops had in those 6 issues or 4 issues, whatever it was, I can't remember. I have all of them though. Was really good. Like the writing for those two was really good in that. The art was kind of iffy, but it sets everything up. So, all right, let's go to Deadpool.
All right. Deadpool, they decided to pull in comedian Brian Posehn and Gary Duggan, and when they showed the preview for Deadpool and said Chimichangas, and you kind of had an idea who it was, and then he put the writers, every fanboy is like, oh my god!
Yeah, because Brian Posehn is a huge comic book nerd comedian.
Yes.
He's commonly known to, like, every time he goes on a tour, every city he goes into, he finds a local comic book shop and buys books. If he's touring with Patton Oswalt, they're both doing that.
But, so he decides Deadpool, all right, we're going to have dead presidents rising from their graves.
Yeah. Deadpool's another one where they decide, like, we're going to hit the reset button. It really is. Because when his book ended before this Marvel Now, he was pretty again. He lost his healing factor.
but he was getting it all back by the last issue.
Oh, was he?
So by this time, it had all fully returned.
Oh, okay. He was getting it back. All right, yes. I didn't know that. I just know that all of a sudden he went from looking like Ryan Reynolds and not having a healing factor to I'm a healing factor and I look like a cancer patient. I look like Freddy Krueger again.
But by the end of the book, you could see that the serum he had used on himself wasn't fully complete. So he did eventually come back to looking like he is.
Okay.
But so yeah. I don't think we really need to take time to fully discuss Deadpool, but it simply boils down to this: Deadpool's going to go around and fight presidents, because in the first issue, he's fighting Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who had polio, and so he's in a wheelchair for the majority of this issue.
All the dead presidents have been brought back to life to overthrow what this guy thinks is like a corrupt government. So he resurrects these presidents, and now Shield is
they decided they didn't want the Avengers, like the face of America, to go out and fight the presidents. So they decided Deadpool was a better option.
Yeah, like we can't have Captain America fighting George Washington. Like it's not a good image for the American people. But you can go out and do it. Yeah, you're a murderer that we don't really like. But hey, it's work. So here you go. You kind of work for S.H.I.E.L.D., but we'll never admit it. And if you fail, we'll never associate with you.
And maybe it's just me. I just like the fact his handler is supposed to be this sassy black lady.
Like Big Mama.
Yes.
Like they give it it's like her first assignment ever is to manage Deadpool. And I like the reemergence now that he doesn't have like 3 different voice boxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just him and well-written humor, and his humor is fucking great. Like that scene when he cuts himself out of that dragon, and he's talking to the fireman, and he's talking about how he has a healing factor that he'll be healed up because his guts are literally spilling out of his stomach, and he's like pushing them back in as they heal. And the guy's just like, well, it can't be all that bad, and as he's saying that, like he's pulling his mask up and puking, and he takes it all off and he looks up at the cop and he's like, yeah, life's grand. As he looks like fucking Freddy Krueger, and the firefighter's like, oh shit.
The best part of that scene was the fact that he was working with Thor. And Thor's like, don't ever mention this again.
Yeah, he's just like, great job on the team up. We did not team up. Like no one just wants to give any respect to Deadpool, and it's great. Yeah, it's really good. The writing is great.
The art's great.
The art is great. It's strong. It's violent.
It's cartoony. As it should be.
Everything is so well detailed. Like nothing is just like a blurry mess. It's all well detailed and down to like the little things of just like dimples in fucking the dragon's body and everything. It's really well done.
Yeah.
So that one's good. All right, so I guess we closed out with
Uncanny Avengers.
Yes.
Where Captain America decided, you know what, I should probably pay attention to these mutants as they're popping up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get Thor, and we're going to go on a college recruiting, and we're going to talk to Havoc, Scott's younger brother, because we want him to be the face of the mutants.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, let's talk to Scott, let's get some other mutants, let's bring Scarlet Witch in, essentially, this team is...
It hasn't fully, in full essence, since the second issue has come out, it hasn't fully formed yet.
No.
They're all, all over the place right now.
Yeah.
But, Cap's trying to get these things together.
Yeah, I mean, on the cover, the essential team is Thor, Cap, Rogue, Scarlet Witch, Havoc.
And Wolverine. Because you forget he's on the cover because you're looking at, everyone else.
Yeah, because so far he's only done very little in the first 2 issues.
Yeah, but in the first issue, he's actually giving the eulogy at Xavier's.
Yes, yeah, that is true. He's given the eulogy, and he's consulted on Havoc.
Who in that very first issue had a very strong 1-to-1 with his brother.
Yeah,
which was set up the whole premise.
That was awesomely written, and that is another thing that I love about Remender is like the writing for this book. This is probably out of the 2 books that he's writing, I think this is his stronger writing.
Yeah,
this is where he's bringing out his A game. And I think Cap is going to slowly develop.
And one of the things that helps in most team books is if you have a small cast, so you can focus more on the characters, and that's what he's got going on.
Yeah, he doesn't have the task that is in front of the team writing just the Avengers book, where the whole plot is to make the Avengers team fucking gigantic. Like, that's the first arc, is like Iron Man's like, hey, we need a lot of fucking members, like more than ever. And you're just like, holy shit, you already have a lot. Like, you already have like 50 people. But this one I like the focus, and I love the twist at the end. Like, it just gets dark right away. And I'll go ahead and spoil it. Red Skull essentially has abducted the body of Charles Xavier from his grave and has extracted his brain to fuse Charles Xavier's brain to his own, so that he can have psychic powers, instantly making him one of the most powerful villains in the world.
And I think the best quote I keep saying every now and then is like, oh, the Red Skull, he's doing Nazi stuff again.
Yeah, he's doing dark, crazy Nazi stuff. And it's funny, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's back again because he died. Like, he got assassinated by Winter Soldier, and now he's back. But apparently it's explained that this is one of his model decoys that was awakened after Red Skull died.
That's what I was told.
Yeah.
That's what I was supposed to understand.
That's what they explain in issue 2. Is and this is the only one that I've read past the first issue.
Well, there's only 2 anyway.
Yeah, there is only 2. And essentially this is a life model decoy of Red Skull that was set up by the original Red Skull, so that when he dies, all of his memories are implanted into this body, and it goes on. He carries on. So now his mission is to essentially treat mutants like the Jews.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not even kidding.
That is not a joke. That is an actual pull from the book.
He is basically treating them like the Jews, and he is going to annihilate them from existence on Earth. And like the first introduction of what he does is he basically abducts Avalanche and takes out his brain and puts in like this control device that's the size of his brain.
Yep.
And like that shit was wild. And just the whole plot. But this is where I was talking about with the whole Xavier thing. I have a feeling that Xavier's brain is going to overpower and overtake the Red Skull's body.
And he's gonna have to get skin grafts.
Yeah, like something, because it's just this whole thing. Like okay, so Xavier's brain is fused to your brain. So that means I believe he should also have all his memories, or no?
I don't know yet.
He's got the.
He's at least got the power. Portion.
He's got the powers.
That'll be something I think that will be explained later.
I think this is I think that's something that's going to slowly develop just to see how much he has. That's going to be interesting.
But
with everything though, so we've gone through all the books.
And I will say, in the second issue, they had a very powerful moment, I felt, when there was a building that had collapsed and whatnot, and then, Havoc's helping a human out, getting out from, under the rubble, and the human's talk is like he thanks him no matter what kind of species he is, and they have a hug. I thought that was a very powerful moment in that book.
And that was the culmination right after Wolverine was just like, humans are not going to accept mutants. Like, it's not like, have you seen what's been happening? They're not. Like, this thing has flipped on its ear thanks to what Scott's doing and everything else. And then this guy's like, I don't give a shit if you a freak or not. Hug. And like Havoc was shocked. So it was a good moment.
And I think, and it may just be me, but I think Remender's strongest character so far in 2 issues is Rogue.
Yeah, she's shown a lot of stuff. I agree. She's going to be really good.
Especially when she took the powers of that water mutant and said, all right, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that was really good. I'm looking forward to that quite a bit. All right, so with these books, so what's What's your overall opinion of Marvel now? First month in. What are you thinking? How are you feeling?
Well, there's 4 books I primarily gotten, or 5, whatever, in Marvel now, and I think I'm looking forward to what's going to develop in majority of them. I mean, I know it was a little disappointing in Iron Man, but I think eventually it's going to build up to something. But, we'll see what's going on there. But all in all, I think it's a good start, but, these people are pretty much resetting, new arcs with and new creative teams.
And there's still a lot of A-listers to come as far as the characters go. There's still going to be judgment laid down upon Spider-Man, Wolverine, when the Uncanny X-Men return for Scott's book, Cyclops' starring book, to see, because right now there is no book out there that's giving you anything from his perspective as to what's going on. Nope. That's going to be the first one. I think Guardians of the Galaxy can be big.
We'll see.
Because I have a feeling their goal is to make that a huge book because of the movie coming out.
That's about it. That's their main goal.
Yeah. And I think that's a February book.
I guess. By then,
it's a March book.
It's a March book?
Because I remember we just did the January stuff. February is... they're going to do a 0 issue. And they're going to do a 0.1 issue. And then they're going to have an official number 1 in March.
Fantastic.
Yeah. If I remember correctly. So that's coming. So, I mean, like you said, there's 5 books coming for December. Thunderbolts is already out. Avengers is already out.
I know there's Cable and X-Force.
Cable and the X-Force. There's Avengers Arena.
New Avengers. Is that coming out this month? Or is it something else?
I think it's New Avengers. I think Young Avengers is... I don't think Young Avengers is December.
Anyway.
But we got at least 4 of the 5. With everything here, let's see. I'd probably say I'm gonna start. I made my own personal list of how I ranked everything. I ranked everything separate categories of art, of the art style, the writing, and then just overall how I felt about the books. And then I'm sure you compiled some of your own data. I don't know if you did it like this.
No, because I didn't make a list whatsoever. But now I'm sitting here thinking about it.
That's fine. For writing, I got it like this. I'm going to go from 10 to 1. I got 10 Thor, 9 X-Men Legacy, 8 Fantastic Four, 7 Iron Man, 6 Captain America, 5 FF or Future Foundation, 4 All New X-Men, 3 Indestructible Hulk, 2 Deadpool, and number 1 Uncanny Avengers. Were you surprised with the gap that I have between Remender books? Since I'm just
a little bit, but not really, no.
Okay,
but I can understand why you would set them up that way.
Yeah, I mean Thor itself, I wasn't interested. I'm still not interested in the murder mystery of God Killer. I'm not really, with it yet. X-Men Legacy, it was kind of hard to. It was a bit hard to follow. I had to read it a couple times to finally put everything together as a whole, and I'm not currently interested in its story arc. I'm interested in where the character goes. I think once they get out of this initial story arc, maybe I'll grab another issue and see how it is. Fantastic Four, I like the art, but I just feel like the whole, I don't know, with what my interests are in comic books right now, the whole family-friendly, cheesy feel isn't grabbing me right now. But it is Matt Fraction. I think once Matt Fraction gets his claws into the book and he's really going at it, I think he's going to create some really good story arcs. I mean, he created that closing story arc for Iron Man, which was fantastic. Well, that entire run was him.
Yes.
I forget which issue of Invincible Iron Man he picked up on.
Didn't he start at the beginning?
Did he start at the beginning?
I was pretty sure he started at the beginning of that series.
Okay, well, Tim would know better than I would. So I have a feeling like as he gets into it, it's going to be better. Iron Man, I really, I like the art, but the story just feels to me like it's a cash in for the third movie.
It is.
Like it's got to start off because it's writing about the main plot points of the third movie essentially. It's focusing on extremists, which is one of the big plot points of the third movie, and it's just like, okay, come back to me. It seems like though with issue 5, because I've seen the non dialogue, just the art for issue 5. It seems like that's when they're going to start making the jump in the fact that he's joining the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Because they're making that armor, and then he's also making a new heavy armor. So we'll see. Captain America I thought was a decent start. The art is all right. I don't hate John Romita like other comic book fans tend to hate him. I think he's pretty solid. And I'm a fan of Remender, so I have a feeling this book has nowhere to go but up. But the first issue, while...
Oh, we didn't even talk about the baby he took from Arnim Zola when we talked about Captain America.
Oh, yeah. That was like the very last plot point of the book.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, because they thought that he just burst through that baby's tube and murdered it. But so I mean
that's the part I'm actually would be interested in where that's going.
I like the internal dialogue for Steve Rogers. The other stuff is wait and see. FF, I thought the writing was really strong for Scott Lang and the kids. All New X-Men, I thought, and then the top 4 I have, it's all very close. They're all extremely close because Deadpool has amazing writing for its humor. Uncanny is really where the A list or the top writing for Remender is going right now, which is understandable. Avenger books are always the ones Marvel wants the biggest focus on, so you really got to put your best writing in those. Indestructible Hulk, I thought, really stepped up writing because I did read the Incredible Hulk closing arc where he separated from Banner, and that was pretty interesting. But I feel like this writing is even a higher notch than that.
It is. It's going to be, at least.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. And All New X-Men, the story arc intrigues me because I'm a big fan of Beast, so I want to see where that's going, where he's possibly dying. Artwork.
Beast is going to say Beast.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
Young Beast is going to save Old Beast, or maybe Old Beast saves Young Beast. Who knows? We'll see. It'll be interesting, because who knows? Will they go back, or will any of them stay? I guess we'll see. Artwork, here's how I ranked them. 10, X-Men Legacy. 9, FF. 8, Thor. 7, Fantastic Four. No, not Final Fantasy. 6, Captain America. 5, Uncanny Avengers. 4, Iron Man. 3, All New X-Men. 2, Indestructible Hulk. And 1, Deadpool. I'm not going to go through all of them as to why, but, Deadpool I just thought was awesome for its style, its coloring. It's very flashy. It's very vibrant. I enjoyed looking at every page. X-Men Legacy was a bit muddled, a little old looking, and I don't know. It was kind of weird. I just wasn't impressed with it. Iron Man, for as much as I thought its writing was a cash-in, I thought its art was very strong, especially anytime he's in his armor. It looks awesome. That art is great. Overall, here's how I got them, just based on enjoyment of mixing the two. Number 10, Fantastic Four. Number 9, X-Men Legacy. Number 8, Thor. Number 7, Captain America. Iron Man, I'm sorry. Number 7, Iron Man. Number 6, Captain America. Number 5, FF. Number 4, Uncanny Avengers. Number 3, Deadpool. Number 2, Indestructible Hulk. And number 1 is All New X-Men for me. I like the art. I like the storyline, even though they weren't number 1 in either category. I just felt the overall combination of where they were going and its focus on the breakdown of what happened after AVX. That's the book that I really want to follow, and I feel it's going to be one of the main story points. All New X-Men and Uncanny Avengers are going to be the main books of the outcome of AVX, and then once Uncanny X-Men hits, that'll be one as well. But these are the ones that really focus right at the fallout, and I think they're the two. And then just Indestructible Hulk. The the writing in that was so strong in the direction that they were taking with Bruce Banner. Not just the Hulk, but the direction they're taking with Bruce Banner, where he's like, I want to be awesome too. I don't want to be the skinny guy that just turns into the Hulk. I thought that was awesome. So that's going to be really cool to see what he comes up with, what he creates. Down the line, it'll be interesting to see when he eventually reconnects with Thunderbolt Ross. It's going to happen. It's got to happen. I mean, not to fight, but they're going to see each other again. They're going to be face to face, especially if they're both Avengers.
We'll see.
So, no, it'll be a while.
It'll be a while, but
I think
I think it's pretty far down the road, though.
Yeah, I think Betty will happen sooner than
Betty's more of a sooner than later. By the way, Red She-Hulk is technically part of Marvel now, but we couldn't give a shit.
Red She-Hulk was just a carry-on of Hulk. The Hulk book was the one to focus on Red Hulk, and then at like issue 59, it just switched over to Red She-Hulk, and I've never been interested in the character.
Nope.
So while technically it is a Marvel Now book,
So are they going to make a Christmas Hulk book where you have both the 3 different Hulk together?
no, probably not. They may make just an overall Christmas book that has them involved in some comedic way, but that's about it. So,
Marvel babies.
yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, overall, I think it's a solid start. I mean, there's 4 really good titles. As far as what I'm going to keep reading, I'm going to keep reading Indestructible Hulk. I'm going to keep reading Deadpool. I'm going to keep reading all new X-Men, and pretty much anything Rick Remender. I mean, I'll be honest. His writing is that good to me that I'm going to keep reading Cap. I mean, it is half his writing. It is. That's only for wrestling. I'm only a vapid tool because I don't understand the greatness that is WrestleFest, apparently. But, like, it's Rick Remender's writing, and it's also the fact that I have kept up with Captain America books for the past 3 years. I've had Brubaker's run in the classic Captain America book, which once he left that and they rebooted Captain America back to issue 1, and then the classic book was like Captain America and Bucky, Captain America and Falcon, Captain America and Iron Man. It was like a bunch of collaboration stories. Yeah, that probably would happen. Who knows? But with that one, I kept up with just Brubaker's run on the classic Captain America book, and now Brubaker's just going from Marvel entirely, if I remember correctly.
he's trying to go Hollywood right now.
Yeah. So best of luck to him. Eventually, he's going to be back.
We'll see.
Whether it's, I'm not saying to Marvel. I think he's going to be back in comics eventually.
We'll see.
He's going to get an itch.
Well, he was in DC at once upon a time.
Most writers out there nowadays have done work at one point for both of the big two.
Yep. Bendis hasn't yet.
Yeah, Bendis is the Undertaker of
Marvel.
Marvel of writers
Right now.
He's only stuck with one company. And he's not just a writer for them anymore. He's like a pretty high up guy in their corporate structure.
Yep.
And he's a fat blob.
He didn't used to be. He used to be a little thinner.
Yeah, he used to be skinny, but he's gotten big. And like watching him on the MTV video things and watching him laugh, his fat laugh, this is funny.
He jiggled.
Yeah, he jiggles and his neck disappears. He's got all these ripples in. Like, this is funny. It's
like
funny to me.
Like a little baby.
Yeah. And apparently, it was funny watching because they were talking about all new X-Men, and it was like him. It's him and one other person on the book that they constantly argue over the fact of whether Beast should look more ape-like or more cat-like.
Well, right now his mutation is cat-like.
Yeah, but a lot of people have been pissy because he always looked ape-like, like back when on the classic X-Men cartoon and everything. So a lot of people prefer that look. My thing is, if his mutation is he's constantly changing, he's gonna look different.
Whatever, whatever.
But that was kind of funny. Anything you want to add, or anything that you came up with while I was going through those lists?
Well, the books I usually pick up are Iron Man, Deadpool, Indestructible Hulk, Uncanny Adventures, and what else did I pick up?
Well, you picked up Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts, but that's for next month.
Yeah.
And I'm also picking up Avengers, but those would be my usual four. But I guess if I had to rank them, for me personally, Indestructible Hulk's probably my number one. But that's because I love Mark Waid. Okay, I've been a fan of his for a long time. Since he was. Well, he's got a man crush too.
Rick Remender. We'll keep reading. Number one, Rick Remender.
And it's been ever since his Justice League days, like in last decade.
Mm-hmm.
But so when I saw the direction he was going, then I was really happy with that. And I guess Uncanny Avengers would be my number two because I want to see Red Skull do Nazi shit.
Yeah,
that's just what it boils down to.
That is the biggest level of interest. Like, he's not out there even like focusing on Captain America. He doesn't give a shit about Captain America right now. He's like, I must eliminate all the mutants.
All mutants must die.
Yep.
Then it would be Deadpool.
And his whole
because it's Deadpool.
Yeah, and his whole way of doing that is basically, I'm going to use the powers of Charles Xavier to force Scarlet Witch to then use her No More Mutants spell again.
Yep. But then Rogue kind of saved her.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
That's still his plan, though.
That is still his plan, though.
He's still looking.
Woo! But,
woo.
I'm mostly looking forward to Savage Wolverine next month a little bit, but we'll see when we get there.
So far, I think this month, December's off to a pretty good start. I liked the Thunderbolts. I mean, we're not going to go into detail, but
we'll talk about Thunderbolts at a later date.
Yes. As far as our podcasting schedule for the rest of the year, we got this one. Digital Reload and Chinlock both each have 2 episodes left, and then I am putting each on a break until 2013. So there you go.
Okay.
We are not ending each show with their best ofs. We are going to start 2013 with the best of 2012 on both shows.
Okay.
So tomorrow night, December the 9th, is Chinlock. We will be back to discuss I believe that is our TNA pay-per-view special.
It is.
And then the 16th will be the TLC pay-per-view special. And that'll be it for the Chinlock for 2012. We will not have a show on the 23rd or the 30th. We are going to have a nice 2-week vacation before we come back refreshed from the end of the world. Week for Digital Reload, the 10th, I think that's when we'll finally do the Halo 4 review.
Maybe.
What, are you being serious? Okay. We'll do some other stuff. We'll discuss some other stuff on that and the show on the 17th. And after the 17th, we're done. So we'll probably come back in January with Chinlock, with Digital Reload, and we'll put together the next Marvel Now podcast at the beginning of January.
Okay.
Work for you?
Sounds good to me.
Since it's only 5 books, possibly 4, who knows. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening here in CrisisCast Marvel Now Wave 1. We'll be back with Wave 2 in January. And join us tomorrow for the Chinlock. And as always, since this is CrisisCast, you will definitely want to join Tim here for Crisis in Infinite Comics on his weekly YouTube show.
Hooray, beer.
Yeah.
Or comics.
Yeah.
Maybe both at the same time.
There you go. Check out Figure Follies on YouTube. It's our toy review show. We got our 3rd episode up. I posted it this morning. I posted the 3rd episode this morning.
What?
Yeah, there's 3 episodes now. Yeah, so much shit. All right, man. Well, we're getting
You
out of
got it
here.
coming.
Thanks for joining us. Tim, it's technically your show, so you get final word.
Final word.